welcome to the quarter mile from Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway here on Sky Sport. Well, after we got our Boxing Day meeting under our belts, albeit under some unusual circumstances, it's time to welcome the crowds back to Western Springs. And we got great racing from the January the 1st and the January the 4th meetings here at Western Springs. And we've got the best in New Zealand lining up for the Midas Midget All-Stars Tour, which kicks off. And we got the big winged monsters that are going to be running for the J.A. Russell Sprint Car Silver Crown. But when we were running under COVID, the TQs got all of their racing and the heats sorted out so they could race for the silverware. Here are the highlights from the TQs.
You can hear the engine RPM starting to build. Washworld bringing you the 15 laps of action here as we go green, and it's going to be Morrison that gets the initial jump, but the 56A just giving them a little push to get out started as we look at the second of the Baker cars, and that's Scott Baker there. But the man who is in charge here, Morrison, still out front. But 97, this is our man on screen. He's out front by a country mile. Last lap of the Washworld TQ feature. The COVID Cup brought to you by Washworld as our leader comes around to take the checkered flag here tonight at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway.
Lap traffic was pretty hard out there. It's a pretty hard track to pass on. It's pretty one lane out there, but this KP Tanks rocket was hooked up all night, and I can't thank everyone else for helping me out this year.
Getting the fans back at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway is hugely important to the drivers. The one thing they missed when we raced under COVID conditions was the feel of racing in front of a live audience. Tonight, it's all different when we've got the best midget drivers in New Zealand lining up for the Midas Midget All-Stars Tour and an all-important grid position in the feature. So, let's get to the heats.
As we look for that white chalk line, we see the 2NZ pull off, and we will go green, and the initial jump goes to Hodgson out of position number 2. Great start there, plenty of action further back, but the initial jump there, and great opening lap there for the 25 of Hodgson. It's the 25 now being heated up by Mike Pickens, getting up the inside of the 25. Hodgson is not going to let this battle go. Pickens tries to throw the slider, plenty of drive down there on the inside, and drives off into the sunset in front of Hodgson. Pickens getting up the inside, and Kent Palmer there for our lap traffic. Checkered flag comes out for our leader, Michael Pickens. 54A takes the win. In second place, Aaron Hodgson with the 3NZ rounding out our third position.
This is exactly what the drivers want out of the surface, is a grip level. So the car, although the track looks quite rough, is actually providing a lot of grip. See the drivers trying the high line and the low line. So the high line is what we call out by the wall. The low line is down by the pole line. They'll be searching for grip. So these cars wheel spin all the way around. The less wheel spin, the more grip. The more grip, the more going forward they get. As
we see Esslinger versus TRD off the front row as we go over the chalk for the first time here. That initial jump going to Williams off the front. Shane Jewett gets around the outside of Treeway. Big crash there. And that's Brock Maskovich in the 5, so yellow's out all around the racetrack. Is there a little bump there maybe, or does he run into the back of that of Troy Jeffries? There he does. He rides up the back of the 46 over the right rear and tumbles right down in front of Midas turn number 1. So those of you down there at turn 1 getting a good view of the action down there. But big tumble there, unfortunately, for the Magnum Motors American Racer 5A machine of Brock Maskovich. Curry in a hurry. What's he got off the front road? Little glance of wheels between himself and Williams, but the jump initially goes to the 1NZ of Williams. Tries to fail on the outside. Curry tries to hang tough. Can't get there. Jewett slots into that third position. Curry getting all out of shape, out of Midas turn number 2, but still hangs fire, holding position. Our man out front leading at the moment, it's Lucas Oil, 1NZ of Williams. Seconds is still Curry. Shane Dewar doing a great job in third position in the NZ, number 41P. But here is the Greenway team cars of Trent Way, Brad Mosen. Mosen trying to work that high side around the top of that of Brett Morris Jr. Does so successfully now with a run on his teammate Trent Way, trying to get around that high side. Way with a little bit of understeer, just leaves the door open now for Brett Morris Jr. to get up the inside of Mosen. Mosen getting a little bit of a squeeze up there, but prevails, gets a run now on the outside of Brett Morris Jr. He clears him down here in Penrite turn number 3. Half a lap to go around the speedway for Williams. Is he going to prevail? I think so. There's a good 50 to 100 metres between himself and Caleb Curry, and the win goes to Hayden Williams for the Midas Midget All-Stars heat race number 2. whilst Caleb Curry comes home second in his first ever midget heat race action with the Greenway team.
I'm just going to show everybody what's happened here. This bar down here connects what's called the panard bar. So this rod that goes through here is the panard bar. It holds the axle from going left and right. When Brock's cars slam down on the left-hand side, it's pushed this bar out, snapped it off, and we've got a break up here.
No, so the 2NZ sounds as flat as a pancake still as the 2NZ pulls off to the infield, and he's not happy about it, I can tell you that. As we look to go green, it's the Esslinger Aggressor chassis. No, it's not, it's the Terra chassis. As the BSL machine of the 91, and that's Hayden Guptill, works right around the outside of both of those team drivers and does so successfully, getting around that of Robinson as he tries to get around the outside, but it's McDonnell almost up and over in the 34. Look for the 99 running in third, and then McDonnell. So McDonnell does it all on his own, does he? Yeah, no, just rides the right rear, and that sets up the concertina effect of the 99 and the 14 in there as well. What are we going to see out of Davison in the 97? He leaves to the last minute. Guptill's going to go with him. Are we going to see the high line come through for Guptill? He follows him through on that pole line. What are we going to see? Can we see some magic out of the NZMT machine, out of BSL Racing? So far, follows the pole line. It's still greasy between turns 3 and 4, as we see from Jeffries. He drops back from third to second and last in one lap. Here's this battle, Esslinger versus Esslinger. Identical car and chassis here. The young rookie doing a great job in that 95k, hanging the current New Zealand champion behind him here. Williams just sneaking around the outside and does so there, moves him up in position. It's that of Hayden Guptill coming down start-finish line and takes the checker, taking out Midas Midget All-Stars. Heat race number 3. Second place, Braden Davison doing a great job to prevail in second. Peter Honeybell in third, Brett Morris Jr. in fourth, and rounding out our top 5, Hayden Williams. Midas All-Stars Midget Heat Race number 4, brought to you by Fastmaster. 10 laps the distance. Worthington off to a clean start. Mosen trying to sneak up the inside of Guildford. Can't get there. Mosen goes high side, tries to work around the outside of Guildford. I think he's going to prevail. He's going to get there. He sneaks up the inside of Guildford and does so. High side around Jaden Worthington, clears him off. And there is the 10A, drives off into the sunset. Barry with a little high side, finds that low cushion. Jonathan Allard and I were talking about earlier. That car of Barry's is not short on motor. Outruns Pickens down the straightaway. But that Tree King, number 16A, the rookie, doing a great job here as Pickens tries high side. Work for Mosen, will it work for Pickens? And it does. 6 laps to go. Still no change in second. Guildford with a big gap. Worthington now has the blowtorch applied by Pickens for third and fourth. Here's the battle. Worthington, the young gun. Pickens, the multiple New Zealand champion. Here it is, the battle we're talking about right in front of you. Worthington, Pickens. Pickens playing a little bit safe, trying to pick his line. Plenty of drive down there at minus turn 1 and 2. Pickens goes high side, trying to work the top shelf around Worthington. Gets the over-under done on him. Bumps him wide, getting Worthington all out of shape. Here's the man with everything to answer. The only person so far this season that has anything for Pickens. And he's doing a great job using up every bit of machinery he's got under him. And heat race win goes to Brad Mosen. And Max Guildford bringing home second. Michael Pickens in third. Jaden Worthington doing a great job to hang on to fourth there. Ryan Barry in fifth. And Ben Matthews rounding out your top 6.
Welcome back. Another edition of Know Your Speedway. This is typical of the back half of any toolbox that's here at Western Springs. Have a look at the components in here. We have a front axle. This is a front beam and it's ready to go in the car, complete with a left front disc and brake caliper, everything. This is a differential with the axle full here. What's interesting about this is that the caliper, this is the disc for the brake, the caliper for the brake, but you can see here that the brake's already bled, so it's got a quick connect coupler, so they can change a differential in the car in about 7 to 10 minutes in one of these things. These bars down here, these are called radius rods. The long ones are for the rear of the car and the shorter ones are for the front of the car. in any sort of incident on the track, these parts can crumble or break, bend or whatever. So the guys' objective is they can put the car ready in 10 to 15 minutes and have it race ready to go back on the track. That's another edition of Know Your Speedway.
Sprint car action with the Winged Warriors taking to the track here for the J.A. Russell Sprint Car Silver Crown. Let's go to the heats with Alistair.
So the lights are off around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. The 3NZ will be our pace setter for the J.A. Russell Silver Crown Sprint Car heat race action. Number 1, who's going to get the jump? Is it going to be O'Connor? Is it going to be Thomas? What are we going to see as we look to go green across the chalk for the first time here around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway for the sprint cars here? J.A. Russell Silver Crown title here. Jamie McDonald tries to run that high line, getting all out of shape there. Gets out the inside, trying to prevail on that of Lance Beale as they slide up the racetrack. And a couple of drivers there, Jonathan, having a little mishap, as you did here on Boxing Day, and that's Battersby and the 99 going around. We called that no man's land when you went around there the other night, J.A.
Yeah, I like to be where nobody else is, but it looks like down on the very infield of 3 and 4, there's a bit of water, and it looks like they hit the water and pushed up into the marbles, and sometimes it's really hard when you get into a dead push like that through the water, and then you're the second guy, and then the third guy goes through the water, and it's all the way out on the track, and unfortunately just couldn't get together back up, which I've done that before plenty of times, but he'll get her turned around, and hopefully we can get that water run in, and it'll be a really good racetrack.
Are we going to see the 3NZ getting that same jump? Can Pickens go with him? Or are we going to see the young gun out of Palmerston North, Dean Cooper, go with them in the 84 as we go green? But the initial jump goes to O'Connor, but Daniel Thomas tries to run that top shelf around the top of Orion O'Connor. Pickens gets up the inside of Cooper as they go round. Pickens spins in front of the whole field, taking out the entire front end there of the current 1NZ. Lance Beale getting caught up in the mix as well.
You just kind of get caught up, and it looks like Michael got in there pretty hard, and Dean, and they were trying to fight for the same spot. Oh, it looks like Michael kind of got up in the infield a little bit hooked up there, and that's just part of racing. I mean, Michael didn't do anything wrong. That's just part of trying to get through there and get your points.
As we go green, but it's still that tight battle between the 98 and the 3, trying to go side by side, but Daniel Thomas does a great job and gets through minus turn number 2, clears O'Connor and tries to go with him, but there's just too much drive down on that low line there, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's pretty, like I say, once you get the bottom of the track really fast, it's hard to go around somebody that's doing real well on the bottom line. But he's doing a great job getting it in there and getting around. He's got a lot of corner speed, and he's doing well. McDonald's wheel came off.
Jamie McDonald losing his left front wheel down at minus turn number 1. As we see, good spotting there, J.A., as we see the 71 man pull to the infield and the race goes yellow. Let's see what happens. Thomas goes early. The 3NZ gets the jump on O'Connor. Dean Cooper tries to go with him in the 84P with only half a dozen or so laps left here as O'Connor finds that little lower cushion that Jonathan was talking about. Leave 1 lap to go here. Last lap as Battersby tries to prevail. He's still on the racing line. Bit dangerous there, but the driver's prevailing and managing to get up the inside. Hanging on, running around with the last straightaway here for Daniel Thomas, taking the win in the J.A. Russell Silver Crown Classic. Ryan O'Connor, Dean Cooper rounding out our 3rd position. James Darm doing a great job, having started out at the 13th position.
2 chassis that are built here in New Zealand. One of them's a Harris chassis and one of them's a Shark chassis, so it's pretty interesting.
Okay, and where did the Shark chassis come out of, John?
They come out of Auckland. Daryl, that's the crew chief on that, they designed it and built it.
Fantastic. So seriously cool bit of technology there being prevailed as we go green. So the lights were out at the very last minute there, but the man who's going to get the jump early on is going to be the 71 Haikoki man. After the troubles in heat race number 1, he streaks ahead already. And the man J.A. was just talking about, 82, Jamie Larson, as we've got Carl Fenton in the wall here, just in front of the commentary tower, and that's going to bring out the yellows. So looking a little bit further back, it's that Midas car with the Midas decals on the wing. There it is, bottom of shot, straight into the wall. So it's the 9M of Holly Williams off the front is going to be our pace setter. Ray Griffin up the inside and gets the jump on her. And the 71 of Jamie McDonald goes with him. Jamie Larson sneaks up there as well, pushing Holly back as Lance Beale goes over and takes the 88 with him, and that's done. So as we see a little bit further back, we've got the 87 mid-shot. Holly Williams just getting into the left rear there for Lance Beale, and then Dam just got in there at the last minute. So maybe Lance Beale just getting a little bit optimistic early on. I'm not too sure.
I'd say the track is a bit tight, and when you go in and you lift, it raises the car up and actually does not, the wing's not allowed to force the car down into the corner.
And we go green in the 11 of Sonic Automotive. Ray Griffin gets off to a great start. Larson a little bit of sleep on that one as Stephen Taylor just gets to the grass. Jay McDonald finds his way around the outside of Ray Griffin, finds a little bit of that drive, but then drops down to the pole. Larson goes with him with 2 laps to go, 1.5 now. What are we going to see? Is Larson going to sneak up the inside? He's going to get up the inside of McDonald with 1 lap to go. Beautiful pass there. So,
keep an eye on the 21. Here he comes. He'll give it everything.
That's it, and he saw an opportunity, but it was just a little too late for Stephen Taylor as the checker comes out, and the win goes to Jamie Larson. Great drive. And Jamie McDonald in 3rd, Stephen Taylor with a blistering drive up to 3rd, Daniel Thomas in 4th, Raymond Griffin bringing out our top 5. Lights are off around the Speedway. Is it going to be Mr. Angry? Is it going to be Kernahan off the front row for the J.R. Russell Silver Crown Classic, heat race number 3? Kernahan gets the early, oh no, it's not. It's Dam gets the early jump there on that of Kernahan, and there's action of plenty. Rob Basie trying to work his way around the outside of Stephen Taylor, feeds him a right rear. Basie getting all out of shape down the front straightaway. Pickens getting up the inside, and Jamie Larson right in there as well, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's pretty action-packed. The track's pretty narrow there through the corners right now.
Keep your eyes peeled. At the moment, it's the 6K of Dam out at the front. At the moment, that's James Dam out of Mount Maunganui. Chris Kernahan, daylight between himself and Eric Smith as well, but there's plenty, sorry, not Eric Smith, that's Steve Smith there in the 76. So now we've got that battle back. We've got Dam, Stephen Taylor around the outside of Pickens.
Here we go again. He's definitely not going to lift that Stephen Taylor. Here he goes, and Michael's going to try the smooth way and move him around him, and he's got him pretty good there.
That's it, and Michael Pickens just doing what he does best. He waited for Smith to make a little mistake, moved up the racetrack, just intimidated a little bit, and made a hole for himself, and that allowed Stephen Taylor through with him as well. And now they've got their foot to the floor. Larson now trying to get around Dam and Smith as well with only 2 laps to go, but it's too little too late. It's still Dam, it's still Kernahan, and Pickens is now 3rd. So staying with our leader here, what's he got? Mr. Angry, Jonathan, can he bring it home?
Oh, he's definitely got a good race car, and he's running really aggressively. Again, he loves that high side, and it's always exciting to watch. Here he goes. He's going to win it. Yep.
Fantastic, and the victory goes to the 6K Hydrolink machine of Dam. Chris Kernahan, Michael Pickens, Steve Taylor, and Jamie Larson. It is feature time. It is the Midas Midget All-Star feature brought to you by Fastmaster. We've got our inverted top 10 for our grids here tonight, and it's going to be Shane Dewar and Brett Morris on the front row here with Ben Matthews in the 7A, Aaron Hodgson for Ray White, Real Estate off grid position number 4, Max Guilford in the 3NZ in position number 5 with Hayden Guptill on the outside of him. Rounding out our grids here for the Midas Midget All-Star feature, Mitch Favish out of grid number 13 with Ryan Barry, the Midget rookie, out of grid position number 14 with Kenny Roberts out of grid 15, Jaden Worthington out of 16. As we look to go green for the Midas Midget All-Stars here at Western Springs Speedway, round number 1, 25 laps the distance, brought to you by Fastmaster. Our pace setter, Brett Morris Jr., as we wait for the chalk, and we go green here at Lucas Oil Speedway. The jump goes to Dewar, and are we going to get Morris to run around the outside? He does, but who's going with him? And it looks to be that of the 14, no, it's the 91, and there of Guptill getting all out of shape with Dewar. But Hayden Williams looks to run that top shelf, working his way around his teammate. That's Hayden Guptill. Williams now moves up to 4th position on that high line, looking to find something special. Guptill now tries to go with his teammate as well. Doesn't prevail, gets into the back of Dewar. Mosen already up the spot, and Williams goes round. And Penrite, turn number 3, looking for about the 5th, 6th car. No, it's the 3rd car in line. He gets a bicycle there all on his own and high sides and find himself up in no man's land there. Down at Penrite, turn number 3. The lights are out around the Speedway. Brett Morris Jr. goes early, gets the jump on Guildford. Guildford tries to get up the inside, doesn't prevail, and a great restart there from the Rush Simulators car of Brett Morris Jr. But Guildford just runs right around the outside of him. Makes Morris Jr. looks like he was standing still. And then we go back to 3rd position of Guildford. Honeybell now moves up a spot to 4th. Dewar drops back another one, but there we go back to Ben Matthews, Michael Pickens, and Brad Mosen running the high side. And we keep an eye on this battle with the 91. That's Hayden Guptill. They get up the inside. Honeybell in there as well. Mosen on the tail tag of Honeybell. Great action shots here from Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Mosen with a slider on Honeybell. Is he going to prevail? Doesn't quite get there. Track is starting to take rubber down at Midas turn number 1 and 2. As the commentator's curse goes on, and Brett Morris Jr. brings out the yellow with 18 laps to run. Doesn't look like any damage. It's going to be Guildford on the outside, but Guptill gets a jump on a beautiful restart there by the 91 at Guptill and tries to lead them down into Midas turn number 1, but we go yellow. And it looks like the officials potentially thought that oh no, it's McDonnell. We've got a flat left rear. I'm probably going to see a replay of this. So he was running in around that sort of 10th, 11th place. Yeah, so he jumps over a right rear by the looks there. He was running down the back with Williams and the likes, and just got a bit of a bike, rode over the right rear. Lights are out and we're green at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway, and the jump is going to go to Max Guildford this time. Honeybell hangs in there in 3rd. Mosen gets a little bit high in the rear end, going into Midas turn number 1 on this restart here, but the man out front, Max Guildford, no one has anything to answer to Guildford on these restarts. Mosen hanging in there in 3rd position. Pickens now moves up a spot on 4th. So here we go. Mosen with his sun visor all out of shape. Here we go as Mosen looks to the low side of Guptill now, trying to find that extra little bit of drive on the inside. It's Brad Mosen versus Michael Pickens trying to work their way to the front. So as Guildford almost goes round and we pull out the yellow flag now. I think that was a trigger happy finger there, brought out the yellow flag, as it almost looked like we had a car going round and Guildford got all out of shape and almost rotated, and that brought out the yellow. So that's going to bunch up the field. That is exactly what Mosen was hoping for. And unfortunate incident there brought out the yellow flag, and that's closed the field right up. No incident on track.
I was just explaining to the people here that how these races start from this point on. When the race starts originally, they have to start on the chalk line, which is coming off turn 4. The cars, when the 2 front cars get to the chalk line, they can start. Now, with the race a bit further underway, there's a cone as the cars go into turn 3, and the driver can start when he gets to that, anywhere from that cone to the chalk line. So the guy that was leading the race has the opportunity to start anywhere he wants to give himself the advantage that he needs. Back to you, Ali.
Thanks very much, Graham. Appreciate that. So that was the mud ring off the 10A of Brad Mosen's right rear, but we go green with only a handful of laps left. And it's the battle between Mosen and Pickens. As Pickens gets up the inside, Mosen runs that high line, tries the over-under, and Pickens is going to pick up 2 spots in 1 turn. And the 54 gets himself all out of shape down into Penrite turn number 3 with 3 wide. And Mosen elbows up, great racing there from the greenway number 10, and gets back through on the 54 of Pickens, as Guptill wants a piece of the action at 4th position as well. So plenty of action here with 10 laps to go. It's Guildford from Mosen, from Pickens, and the front 3 have already stretched out now from Guildford. That's Guptill and Honeybell now, so watch out. What have these fast 2? The slider coming from Mosen up the inside. Can't make it stick. Guildford's got this thing wrapped up. He's got that right rear firmly placed on the cushion. He's smoking that right rear who's here on that IBN 3NZ. 3 laps to go around the Speedway. Max Guildford still hanging in there. There he is, the IBN 3NZ man, way out front of the following 2 drivers. As we go a little bit further back, it's a battle for 4th and 5th, and that's Guptill and Williams a little bit further back. So Williams trying to make his way back, having to start back from the rear of field as Mosen tries to go a little bit higher. Pickens right there with him, but no one's got anything for Guildford at this stage. Both the second and third place drivers trying to find something special further up the track. 1 lap to go around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Guildford looking to bring home his first feature win here at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway, and it's going to be for round number 1 of the Minus Midget All-Stars. Second place looks to go to Mosen, third's going to be Pickens, but the win goes to our current 3NZ, and that is the I-Vent man 3NZ of Max Guildford. And that, ladies and gentlemen, celebration or not, that is a feature celebration, and there is our win from hero to zero. Max Guildford, 3NZ first, Brad Mosen in second, Pickens third, and then the teammates Guptill and Williams fourth and fifth, while Peter Honeybell, our wildcard, rounds out our top 6. He's out of the car, ladies and gentlemen, your feature winner, Max Guildford. Here is a replay of the celebrations of the 3NZ. Gets hard in there. Luckily, he didn't do this during the race. Wheel stands, bicycles himself over, and rolls himself over 5 times.
Not quite the way I wanted to end it there. I could see Brad shoving his nose in at the end, which kept the pressure going. But hey, I'm just super thankful, my guys. Sean Inslee came on tonight, and Ivan, my old man, Hubba, everybody helps out on this. I can't thank Tim from I-Vent enough. He's helped us out immensely. You know, without him, we wouldn't be here. Jamie at GRD.
Now, there was a stage in the race it looked like you were going to give it up. Brad went under you, or Michael Pickens went under you, and Brad had a turn at leading. They all had a crack, but certainly you prevailed. So on behalf of this, there's the minus $1,200 for first place. And ladies and gentlemen, your spectacular finisher, it was winner first and finisher second, Max Guildford.
Thank you. I'm sorry to the guys that did that like that. I really don't know what happened. We'd run down there in the race and it was fine, and I kind of just slid myself at the end, and yeah, it is what it is.
Jump to some grids here for the start of the J.A. Russell Silver Crown Sprint Car feature here tonight. As we look to the grids, it's going to be Daniel Thomas, the 3NZ, starting out of position number 1. James Darm, the 6K off the front row on the outside. Jamie Larson, Stephen Taylor round out your second row with Brian O'Connor and Chris Kernahan rounding out position number 6. Then we move back a little further out of position number 13, a man who's done it tough here tonight, the 84P of Dean Cooper. And on the outside of him, the man out of Mount Maunganui is going to be Keaton Darm out of 14. Nick Edmonds in the 37A out of position number 15 with Rob Vasey on the outside of him in 16. As we look to go green next time past the flag post, we're going to start our 25 laps of anger. Is it going to be that of Daniel Thomas? Is it going to be that of Darm? Mr. Angry tries to get the jump, but they don't just get there. Daniel Thomas gets up to a great start and will lead them down into minus turn number 1 on lap number 1. Plenty of action further back. That's the 1NZ. Michael Pickens trying to pick his way through early already. We see Jamie McDonald trying to do the same thing, trying to run that high side, but here's those fast drivers we spoke about. Stephen Taylor even starting to mix it up the front there now, Jonathan.
Yeah, definitely trying to get in underneath Mr. Angry. He's got that, got a wheel spinning down the straightaway. Oh, we got a car upside down.
That's a car upside down, and it looks like that's the car of Smith there.
Is some of the things that we see here up in this booth alley and what the fans see is definitely not what we see in the car. You've got the wing, you've got darkness, you've got tear-offs, you've got glare, you've got things going on that nobody really understands. And some of the things that happen on decision-making and some of the things that you do during the race.
As we look to take on the battle between our previous leader, Daniel Thomas, versus Mr. Angry, the 6K of Darm. Jamie Larson trying to sneak his nose in there already on this restart as they go green. And Darm drops back and Larson jumps up the inside of him and fires in there. But look at the man from Wellington. It's the 21W of Stephen Taylor right up in there and tries to go with the 3NZ this time. So here we go. 1 lap in the books here for the sprint cars. And here comes Michael Pickens already rounding up Raymond Griffin and sends his eyes now onto the back of Chris Kernahan. So here's Pickens. He's picking his way through the traffic already. As I say, he sets his eyes onto the back of Kernahan. but he just gets a little bike on, finds that extra grip there in no man's land, Jonathan, and loses a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, he caught that ledge and it just moved the front end over. And again, you have to make an adjustment. Looks like Michael's car, he definitely rolled the wing back to get a bit more drive. It probably cost him up against the ledge, so I bet he's made an adjustment. And he'll try to get some more momentum on Carnahan. But it looks like Daniel Thomas has got this thing handled. It's really good to be out front until you get to traffic. So we'll see what happens with Stephen Taylor. It's always good to be in second and just go where Daniel Thomas doesn't in traffic.
But here's our leader, 18 laps to go. But look, here is Stephen Taylor. He was a little bit rusty at the start of the night, but he's found his way to the top. And as the traffic starts to creep in now, they're around the 37. They're now looking at the back of the 99, and that's Richard Battersby. Watch out for this one. And Stephen Taylor moves up to the top shelf, and Jamie Larson tries to go with him now.
Well, it looks like Jamie Larson made contact. That's just one of those things. You just got to try to pick your lane and hope that it's the right choice. It's all by instinct and what's happened and a little bit of knowledge of where the cars are going. So he did a great job getting through there, and it looks like it's giving him an advantage.
Watch out, Jamie Larson now hot on the tail tank of the 21W machine of Stephen Taylor. So Taylor with the slider on Fenton now allows Pickens up the inside of Darm. There's action of plenty all the way through the top 5. As we see this battle alive now, Larson up the inside of Carl Fenton. That was a closing door. Pickens now gets in there, passes his old car, and now sets his eyes onto the back of the 4th place man. Now looks to throw the slider up the inside for that 3rd place on the podium. And don't discount the man, Jamie Larson, as he tries to get around the outside of Rob Vasey. But Daniel Thomas finds himself in no man's land and allows Stephen Taylor to get up the inside, slider up the inside, and he gets Daniel Thomas and throws the car between himself. And watch out, Pickens. Watch out, Ray Griffin. You've got these fast boys coming through. Stephen Taylor, and the yellow is out. And that's for Jamie Larson down on the pit straightaway. And Larson's got a flat left rear tyre.
I'm just watching looming Michael Pickens coming. Like he looks like he's got it under control. He's the most smooth through the traffic so far. He's the most experienced when it comes to getting into traffic and stuff, although they won't have that when they get the first restart. I wouldn't put the house on it, but I'll certainly get close. He's our guy.
Thanks very much, Graham. I'm going to jump to the professionals. And J.A., would you put your money on Michael Pickens? Would you put the house on it?
Oh, he's definitely really good with traffic. One thing about Michael is he knows this track inside and out, and he does a good job at not letting the tires spin. And that's probably the biggest thing. You don't see his car get upset or get out from underneath what we say underneath the tire. And what that means is the tire's not spinning and the car doesn't step out, and that allows him to gain on traffic, where some of the other guys, when they spin the tire, you'll see Michael close the door real quick.
As we look to go green with only 6 laps left to run around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Is it going to be Daniel Thomas? Is it going to be Stephen Taylor or Michael Pickens as Darm tries to go with him? And they hit that little bump heading into Midas turn number 1. Pickens throws the slider up the inside of Stephen Taylor, pulls it off, but Taylor says no thank you and gets back up the inside. Good fierce racing as we've got one around down at Midas turn number 2. And that looks like the 99 of Richard Battersby by the looks. As we roll around Western Springs Speedway with 6 laps left to run, it's Daniel Thomas versus Stephen Taylor out of Wellington as we look to go green. And the jump goes to Daniel Thomas on the restart. Stephen Taylor goes with him. Darm rounds around the outside of Michael Pickens, giving him that 3rd spot. But watch out, here comes Mr. Angry. We've talked about him all night, and he has his foot on the loud pedal. Watch him go. Stephen Taylor, has he got anything for the 3NZ? Daniel Thomas doing a great job to control his feature. Darm just runs a little bit wide, almost ends out in the wall on the start-finish straight, allowing Pickens to get a run on him. Darm with the front wheels flying, nudges the wall. Pickens gets up the inside, and he is not giving up. He is not allowing that CRC 1NZ machine to go. As he gets back up the inside, tries to get there on Pickens. Pickens feeds him the left rear and squeezes the door for more laps to run here. The battle is still between those fast two. Daniel Thomas, the 21, Stephen Taylor, still running in second position, Jonathan.
What an interesting thing to watch between the two distinct styles of smoothness of Michael and Mr. Angry just getting after it and trying to will it its way. What a great racetrack. I think Stephen Taylor's getting a bit loose. He's probably got the wing too far back, and he's got to make two turns. But Daniel Thomas has got a great race car, doing a great job hitting his marks. I think he's got this one.
He's driving super smooth, and that's the man in the 3NZ Kobe Mufflers machine with only 2 laps to run around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway here as Stephen Taylor straightens up mid-corner, and then we go back and Michael Pickens has got a run on him here now with the white flag coming out this time around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway as Pickens gets up the inside, squeezes him up into the wall. That door closes on Michael Pickens with the last lap as they look to go, as Stephen Taylor just seems to bobble at the mid-corner. There looks to be a problem there for the 21W. The battle, 21 versus 1NZ, they touch. Pickens with his hand out the cockpit, and the win goes to Daniel Thomas. Daniel Thomas picking up the win here tonight for the J.A. Russell Silver Crown Sprint Car feature. Michael Pickens bringing home second from Stephen Taylor. James Darm doing a great job to hang on to fourth. Ryan O'Connor fifth, and Keaton Tarr bringing home your sixth position.
Yeah, Stephen Taylor was putting the pressure on, especially I was trying to get around Raymond for a bit, and yeah, I made a mistake down in turn 4 there, and he got underneath me, and it was lucky. I was kind of saved by that yellow, I think.
Welcome back to the quarter mile at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway, moving on to January the 4th. And the meeting was all set for the big one, the 50-lap Midget Classic. And it was a welcome return to the saloons.
So as we look to go green for the Smith Racing Saloon car feature here, 15 laps the distance. We're about to go green past the flag post. Steve Williams off the pole position here as we go green for 15 laps around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Williams off to a great start, but the 146 is hard in there as well, not letting him get away. And Williams, I think he's been sandbagging earlier on tonight, Hans, because he's a man on a mission. He was highest point scorer coming in tonight at Western Springs Speedway, and we've got plenty of action a little bit further back.
Yeah, certainly was a very interesting one there from him, but he is out in the front at the feature at the moment, leading it away, the 21 Valvoline machine from the 2 micro cars, the 146 of Paul Wright in second, and the 46 Nigel Ross in third. Steve Williams there now under pressure from both of these cars. In fact, could this be a possible lead change, because Williams goes in the second and now fighting Steve for the lead.
That's it. So Steve Williams versus Kevin Williams, 2 different blokes, one from Auckland, one from Wales, and finds his way to the outside. Kevin Williams with a nice run around the high side at minus turn number 2. And both drivers, the 146 and the 8K, get themselves around the outside of Steve Williams.
Interesting moment there for Steve Williams on the pit straight. Got it quite sideways a little bit, but managed to correct it and got it under control. He did lose a position though. Oh, he's clipped the wall. The 8 of Williams on the exit of...
And he did that all on his own, Hans. He just got out into what we call no man's land, hard on the gas, and right in front of that trade zone straight away. There he is, right under our flag bearer. I think he was looking at the flag man because he had his hand out with 5 laps to go. And that's our man in the 146 off the front at this stage to take the restart. Paul Wright gets off to a great start, but not without a battle from our man at Caddyshack Racing, Steve Williams.
Nigel Ross there in the 46 Monza with the exit of Williams from the race has now moved into third position. He's got the 48 of Phil Tugett sitting in behind him, hustling him as well. These two will want to finish on a high in this Valvoline Tri-Series and get on the podium. Chris Taylor not giving them a chance, so he's staying right on the back end of Phil Tugett in the 48.
That's right, and Chris, we've seen absolutely having a stonker of a night here tonight at Lucas West Springs Speedway. He's fought his way all the way forward. He's been the only man that's really been trying anything as far as lines go. And Paul Wright's just driving super smooth. He's driving that car really straight, and and all the other drivers are seeming to throw the cars around harder and harder with only 2 laps to go this time for our 146 man. So Phil Wright with daylight between himself and the 21 of Steve Williams. Then we go back to that beautiful Monza, the 46A of Nigel Ross.
Battling just about side by side now. Too Good and Ross for the 3rd position, that final spot on the podium. They've got 1 lap left to run. 146 of Paul Wright. Has he got it wrapped up? He's got half a lap left to run to do so.
Yeah, but don't discount this battle a little bit further back with Phil Togood. So he's trying to get his piece of the action with the 46 and Nigel Ross as well. But the checkered flag comes out for our man in the 146 of Phil Wright with a dominant performance here for the final round of the Valvoline Saloon Tri-Series. Dominant performance, but the man in 2nd place, Steve Williams for Valvoline in the 21, the 46A for Maiko. Rounding out your top 3, Nigel Ross there in 3rd position, Phil Togood in 4th, Chris Taylor in 5th, and Ash O'Dowd rounding out our top 6.
Plenty in the 50 with some of the favourites not even making it.
And big tumble for Mosen and Brett Morris Jr. So Mosen, having had a run out of Midas turn number 2, got up the inside of Brett Morris Jr. As we look on the big screen, Mosen up the inside, it was right rear to left rear contact, and that was what sent those 2 drivers side by side and on a tumble. And unfortunately for Brett Morris Jr., it's the 2nd time this year he's found himself down in that same position.
It doesn't matter what happened. Can they fix it in time?
Yeah, we're just getting the car off the tow truck now, so we're just going to have to see how bad it was. It looks, I don't know, hopefully it's just bolt-on stuff.
And they're doing a major overhaul on this car. So they're changing the front end of the car, which is the front axle. There's the other one sitting on the ground there, the spare. Also, they're taking out the differential in the car because the back axle's bent. So they're taking out the back axle and the differential and replacing that. Yeah, here with Hayden Guptill. Hayden, what grid are you starting out of?
Starting from 9, so won the B-dash, yeah.
9's better than 10, and you've been charging forward in the last few weeks. So all the best with that car and the NZMT car, and so far so good.
Yeah, it's been good. So I'm actually enjoying driving the Terra this year. Just a good challenge, and yeah, hopefully, I mean, we've been good long run, so hopefully we have a good one here.
All right, here's good news for you. Brad Mosen just climbing in the back of the car right now, getting himself strapped in. You can see his crew there standing by with his helmet. Car is getting set and ready to go. They're just putting the finishing touches to the back end.
Yeah, I'm here with Bevan Cossey. Bevan, you're starting out of grid position 11, and if Mosen doesn't make it, you'll be out of 10. So I guess your fingers are crossed the other way. But so far, so good?
Yeah, you know, we just sort of low-key through the qualifying and stuff, but we're pretty comfortable with the car speed, so just trying to stay out of some carnage and hopefully be up there in 50 laps time.
Hayden, not probably where you wanted to start from, but I have all the faith in you that you can get forward. You've got your head stuff on there, so you didn't hear the crowd roar how popular here. So good luck with your race. What are you starting at, about 20?
I think I'm about a 17.
17, that's
so, no, a bit way back, but, you know, we scratched our heads a bit, and me, Calvin, Ben and my dad have, I think, put together a car that's capable of winning, even though we're starting quite far back. So, you know, the last lap counts. It's a long 50 laps, so I've got all the faith in my team, and it's just up to me now.
World 50 lap Midget Derby. So as we see that Dayglow orange and black machine getting ready to be pushed out on the gate, the team virtually wheeling that car on its high stands to the gate as they do their last minute changes to prove that they are ready to go. There's right rear wheels getting tightened up. There's all sorts going on.
This is it. This is the big one. The 50 lapper here at Western Springs, the jewel in the crown. And you realize how hard people have been working for this. A big thanks to all our sponsors for putting the money on the line for the drivers out there tonight. Brett Morris for putting in an extra 10 grand to the prize pool to pay the first guys across the line. Thanks to Seamount Racing. Thanks to everyone that got involved with this. Thanks to the guys, the members of the Auckland Midget Drivers Club. $1,000 could go to the hard charger as the race goes on. But as we know, this is a long race.
From someone that is a massive team sport player, in terms of following your commitments with the Warriors and being a big league supporter, motorsport is hands down a team sport. How can we take a look at this shot right here and say it is about driver and machine? That is 100% a team sport, what you're seeing on screen at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. So as we see the Greenway, funnily enough, push vehicle behind the Greenway midget car, Brad is going to be very busy, oh, they've pushed the car off the track. They have not made the cutoff.
No, looks like he's out.
So that anticipation, the build-up has got too much, and credit where credit's due to the Greenway team and everyone involved down in pit lane for the Greenway team. Unfortunate that they will not be starting the race. So as the lights are out around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway, we have the two fastest men in the country in the pipeline. Fastmaster World 50 lapper is ready to go green across the chalk, and the jump goes to Michael Pickens, leading us down into minus turn number 1. As they start to jostle in choice for position, as Honeybell just clips the wall, gets a big hop on into Penrite, turn number 3 on the opening lap, and loses a whole lot of ground, moving himself back from 4th position to about 20th now. And the man out front with a little bit of a break on him, Michael Pickens from Maskovich and Ben Matthews. And we've got the other F2 graduates, Kenny Roberts and Jordan McDonnell. 6 laps in the book for our leader so far. But Hayden Williams already finds himself onto the back of the top 5. And here's our leader. He's managing to use every last inch of that racetrack down low before he has to try and find something a little bit further up the racetrack. So he's playing the safe, conservative game, but as he says that, it's a second wheel stand in 2 laps there, as we've got the 3NZ of Guildford slowing down at Midas, turn number 2, and the yellows are out for the 3NZ.
I've been keeping an eye from the back of the field and watching Hayden Williams. His moves are decisive. He's been just carving them up. He's been diving inside, outside. He's really got the high line organised in group in turn 3 and 4. So keep an eye on him. I don't doubt that he won't get to the front.
8 laps that we've currently got in the book. So he's got his brother-in-law, Brock Maskovich, on the outside, and the jewel of the King TRD chassis off the front row as Pickens goes and leaves him for dead. Kenny Roberts slots back into 3rd position. We've got cars in the wall, and that's Jaden Worthington by the looks, and Aaron Hodgson tied up in that as well, as Hodgson pulls to the infield. And it looks like Jaden Worthington was last man in there. And it's a rather sad looking front end on the 63 Vertex lubricants machine. So tied up in that incident, like we say, was the 25M of Aaron Hodgson, and that ended up with a flat left rear as we see another angle of this. So Hodgson was on the outside of Brett Morris Jr. So it was actually started from Matthews checking up in the midfield, and that was just an absolute freight train of cars behind. Lights are out and we're about to go green once again. It's Pickens versus Maskovich as Roberts gets a wheel stand coming out of turn number 4 as McDonnell goes high side and tries to run that top shelf around Kenny Roberts, and he does so successfully. Move Jordan McDonnell up into the 3rd spot. Kenny Roberts fights back, moves up the inside and moves Hayden Williams over. Watch the 2 in front, hits the right rear, sends himself over. So very lucky. Potentially that car should get a restart. Currently we've got 7 laps in the book here. So we see the 1NZ of Williams latch onto the back of the field here. Lights are out around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. A tear-off pulled off the Michael Pickens, and he goes. As soon as he pulled the hammer, ripped the tear-off, he was away, as we see all the drivers check up mid-track. And once again, we got drivers all over the show, and that's the other BSL Terra chassis S-Slinger of Hayden Gupta, it looks like, and there it is, and James Cosby. Once again, it was the Matthews, the 7 car of Matthews. Checked up the drivers there. As the lights are out around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway, wait for our gas man off the front row. Michael Pickens goes. Who's going with it this time, as we see Caleb Curry get into Matthews this time. They're brushing wheels left, right and centre from the midfield all the way back, but the man that clears them out and clear the road in front of him is that of the 54 Pickens. McDonnell doing a stellar job there great restart and settles into the 3rd position. Hayden Williams actually just getting up the inside there and alongside Mitch Osborne now, so he's got a great counter underneath him as he works his way forward from the rear of the field once again. So Williams now up into 6th position as we see Honeybow goes over down in front of the commentary booth at turn number 3. Backs it in hard and all on his own, just finds that moisture and grip, and unfortunately just collides there lightly with James Cossey. So just before we go green here, so My Laps Worldwide is down, ladies and gentlemen, so that is why we have no lap counter and no lap times or telemetry on the restart here. So My Laps Worldwide is down, but the man who is not down is Michael Pickens, and he gets up to a great start again. And the man that slingshots up to 3rd, Hayden Williams, with an absolute stonker of a restart, jumps 3 positions and finds himself back into the top 3, having started out at grid position number 18. As we see this battle here with Maskovich and Williams, and Williams clears him off around the outside. Beautiful camera work there from the Perspective Group camera crew. So we see that pass with the 1NZ, clears him off. And what Williams needs to do now is conserve that car and wait for the yellow flag. He's got night and day between himself and Michael Pickens, about 100 metres between them. But this is this fierce battle pack. We've got Morris, we've got McDonnell there. Then we go back to a hard charging James Cossey in that 33 Dempsey Wood machine, trying to get back up to the front where he did such a great job qualifying. Caleb Curry tries to get a run, tries to get up the inside now. Here's the gap between Pickens and Williams. So plenty of lap cars between them. So as we see the foray of Brett Morris Jr. comes to a stop, and this is exactly what Hayden Williams was waiting for. Michael now knows that his man beside him is not Brock Maskovich, but it's the 1NZ, Michael Pickens, the Hayden Williams. Pickens gets the early jump and tries to get away from Williams, but Williams looks like he's going to opt for that high line. He does, but he can't find anything there as Maskovich tries to sneak up the inside. He's taking chunks out of Pickens. He's right on his bumper as we pick up this battle. There's nothing between it. Williams started out at 18, worked his way forward, had to restart off the rear of the field as Pickens tightens up. Williams gets into the left rear, and it's action aplenty. Pickens knows that he's now there as they lock wheels, and Williams rides over the left. That was his opportunity, and it's opportunity missed for Williams. The 54, the winner of the Pipeline Fastmaster with World 50 Lap Derby, goes to Michael Pickens. As we see a congratulations from Hayden Williams to Michael Pickens, but your winner tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Pickens.
Well, Michael, I bet here's a question for you. When you got the first yellow and Hayden Williams lined up beside you again, and you'd seen that he'd spun out, were you surprised? Were you surprised when you saw Hayden Williams pull up beside you when you'd seen him upside down earlier on?
Yeah, I was just cruising along sort of 70-80% to be honest, and I saw him and I thought, holy hell, time to giddy up, and got after it once I saw Hayden got up to 2nd. So yeah, congrats to Hayden, awesome job. Brock obviously finished 3rd, so congrats to them.
Okay, Michael, here's a cheque for $4,000 from Pipeline Industries. It's also accompanied with another bunch of money from Seamount, another $5,000 from Seamount Racing. So the total bill for this is $9,000, which is pretty good cabbage.
Yeah, I appreciate their support. You know, Warwick McKenzie, he's actually my boss, so you know, he owns a sprint car and he gives us all the gear we need to run. So really appreciate his support. Pretty neat to have some of our sponsors up in the corporate box with Pipeline, and a huge thanks to Brentley Morris and Seamount Racing for bumping up the prize money. It's much appreciated, and hope you put on a show for everyone.
Fantastic, drama-filled 50-lapper and a sensational drive from Hayden Williams. But it was the superb control of Michael Pickens right from the word go that saw magic of the quarter mile here at Western Springs.